To be sure, we have witnessed solid progress in trade facilitation, freedom of movement of CARICOM nationals, the establishment and functioning of the supranational Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, in its original jurisdiction, and the enhancement of functional cooperation in areas such as education and health and security and the coordination of foreign policy. Still, in each of the areas of progress, there is much that is yet to be accomplished. But more than all this, the core features of the CARICOM single economy are yet to be realized.
As a factor of production, the free movement of capital is fundamental to CARICOM and its CSME. However, its member states cannot enjoy this benefit fully in the current dispensation. The reality is that having multiple unexchangeable currencies within a single market is problematic.
It's a huge obstacle to economic integration. And this is why so many regions try to adopt a single currency, and that's why the European Union has a single currency. It is therefore critical to the Caribbean single market and economy that there be a single currency. But a single currency is not going to happen. There are too many reasons why the countries that now have domestic currencies want to hold on to them. The great thing about the Caribbean Settlement Network is that it allows you to fake effectively having a single currency. Because if the Caribbean Settlement Network and central bank digital currencies is implemented, then you can do an economic transaction literally by accessing a smartphone app and making a payment to somebody and not having to yourself go to a bank and do a currency transaction. You can stay in Kingston and send a payment to Castries. And that transaction, that intercurrency transaction, is invisible to you. So you end up having all the advantages of a single currency.
So, insofar as interoperability can be achieved between two or more central bank issued digital currencies, direct currency convertibility within the CARICOM context is attainable.
And we've started that process in the OECS already. And I think it's a positive move where we're taking that EC dollar and digitizing so that we could ensure that we become more competitive, we have reduced transaction costs, and we capitalize on the possibilities that exist with new kinds of currency arrangements. And I think this is something that CARICOM needs to look at, because one of the disadvantages, the limitations, is the whole question of currency convertibility. We have too many currencies. And if we're speaking about trade, if we're speaking about competitiveness, a monetary arrangements must be put in place in the 21st century that we can capitalize on all the different digital arrangements that are possible.
While the use of financial technology as an integration tool may be fascinating, the region has never treated integration as an end in and of itself. Rather, it is a means to an end, that end being development.
I see the region as a single economic space. I think that is the notion that we really want to try to promote. And within that, if we have the free movement of labor, the free movement of capital, we will naturally start to see the economies of scale that are important to really have globally competitive industries. Because if we have the economies of scale within the single economic space, then more than likely our entrepreneurs who are operating in the single economic space will now have the competitive advantage to compete globally anywhere in the world.
It is therefore important to consider that the early adoption of central bank digital currencies could present the region with the opportunity to leapfrog in terms of key development indicators and global competitiveness.
Part of creating an enabling environment is having access to mobile connectivity throughout the Caribbean. That's part of it. I think the other part is for the regulators, the financial regulators, so our central banks and our monetary authorities and so on, to come together as a region and recognize the importance of fintech and the importance of mobile banking to the broader economy and socio-economic progress, and therefore put the regulations in place to allow this industry to flourish, to manage the risks and to manage consumer protection, yes, but to allow this type of activity to happen on a broader scale throughout the Caribbean so that we can achieve the universal financial inclusion that we deserve and that underpin the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals.
In looking at the Caribbean and the promise of a multilateral clearing facility under the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, that I realized not only was this region promised one of these networks, but it had tried it and failed it. And it had failed in doing so, in my belief, from honesty of the actors, and that honesty and accountability of the actors can be mitigated by the right type of technology. And that right type of technology is blockchain.
Governments sign treaties, but governments don't trade. People do, firms do, and Caribbean people have to work integration.
Indeed, this new era of digital currencies presents the opportunity to not only revisit inter-regional engagement, but to reorient the Caribbean in relation to the rest of the world.
Imagine a world where money had no borders, where anywhere in the Caribbean, people could send money to each other, where friends can make plans in another country
I got the money. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll pick up at the airport.
and not worry about how they would be paid for, where a mother in Grenada can send money to her son at university in Barbados without fear, hassle, or major expense. Imagine a Caribbean community united by financial inclusion. Imagine cross-border payments. Imagine.